Ladies and gentlemen, it is an exciting day today. A lot's happening. Games are releasing all over the place right now, but today we are going to play a game that immediately got thrown into the Game of the Year discussion after, universal praise was heaped on this thing with reviews, and that's Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And this is a game that I've been following along with as we've rolled up to its release because it looks like one of the most creative 2D Mario games in a long time. So I'm excited to try it out here for the first time and give some of my immediate thoughts on it. We'll give, 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how things go, and I'll kind of comment on what I'm seeing with my first impression. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we're going to start today with this video sponsor. Now, this is an easy sponsor spot for me because it's a web browser that I actually use all the time, and I'll admit, I wasn't necessarily expecting to say that about Opera from what I remember back in the day, but things are a bit different now. Opera GX is set up with gamers in mind, taking up less resources than other browsers, letting you save all that additional RAM and processing power for your games. Staying up to date with gaming news is a lot easier using GX Corner. Take it from me as someone who is always researching and going through different stories. We have the release calendar. This is split up by platform. It makes it a lot easier to remember what's coming out each week, and with how packed the rest of October and November is, this is going to help out a ton. There's even a deals section letting you catch titles on discount. It's sort of like getting those gaming magazines every week just right in your browser. Switching browsers is a pain, but Opera GX is equipped with an import tool so you can quickly import all of your settings from your previous browser like history, bookmarks, and cookies. Opera GX is also compatible with every Google Chrome extension. I really like the customization options for Opera GX since it plays into my old arcade nostalgia. Using GX mods, you can change the entire browser around with different sound effects, visuals, background music. You can turn on or off any of these features to mold the experience how you like. And you can always browse for new themes and mods in the GX store to apply to your setup. It is a lot of fun to change up your browser with different mods and customization options, and since you're probably going to be using your browser a lot, it's nice to be able to make the whole experience feel more personalized. Opera GX is completely free and makes browsing the web fun again. Use my link below to download Opera GX today. Thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. All right, we'll just do new game. Here we go. You can do up to 4 players, and I have to imagine that that is absolute mayhem. But we immediately have a bunch of different characters we can pick from. I feel like I should start with Mario since it names in the title, sure, but maybe I'll come back and try like Daisy or Luigi or maybe one of the Yoshis at some point. We're gonna stick with the tried and true, just with Mario, and I assume they're gonna attempt to set up some sort of narrative. They are. Don't really need it in a 2D Mario game, let's be real, but sure, Nintendo, we'll see how they do this. Okay, so immediate impressions on the movement. It's pretty quick. Like, there's this weird, especially with new Super Mario Bros., there's this thing where, like, I don't know, it's like kind of this floaty feeling, I guess, to it. Oh, this is very responsive, just kind of going left and right. You have, like, nice little animation when you go too fast with Mario and you stop. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Little things. They do add up, I would say, in the long run. Oh, look, Yoshi has Princess Peach. So Bowser hasn't kidnapped her yet. Let's see where they go with this Oscar-nominated story that I'm sure is about to get set up. So it's as you'd expect. Bowser comes in, steals a Wonder Flower, and turns into what looks like a so he is just the castle then. Wow, it's a dramatic shift from the environment where, visually it looks really good. Like, the characters all have, like, shadows to them, so they stand out really well. Just, I know this is a cutscene, obviously, that's, like, rendered in real time, I'm sure, but just that initial shift from what we're seeing now to that kind of environment, wow, the attention to detail was pretty good. I like the music. This is, we saw this music, or heard the music, I say, in the initial reveal trailer for it, where they sort of showed this. Oh, look, you wake them up, they have like a fun little expression on their face, the Goombas. Oh, that's the elephant. All right, so you turn into the elephant. Oh, look, he like ducks down just a little bit, but then there's still like a duck animation. Oh, that's, again, the little things, just the idea that there's this state for elephant to kind of just lower down underneath. It's, those kind of things add up to feeling high quality. Another elephant. It is interesting they have you become the elephant very, very quickly. Oh, look, you can shoot water. Had the fun little animation for going in and out of the pipe where the elephant barely fits. Okay, so here we go. We got our first Wonder Flower. Let's see how this looks. Yep. Again, this is all stuff we saw kind of in the initial trailer that they showed us. The music changing. I'm more curious what ideas they have up their sleeve in like the following worlds that we haven't seen yet, obviously, because I see them basically having free reign to do whatever they want. So the idea is you go through to get the Wonder Seed, and I don't know, maybe it's timed? I'm not sure, but I guess that's going to be the idea, because we saw in the previews that the Wonder Seeds can be spent on different things, whether it's unlocking new worlds or, I guess, areas you go through, because they have a bunch of branching paths, or buying badges. So you get a Wonder Seed when you beat a level, and there's also one hidden in the level. The 2D Mario game that this has drawn a lot of comparison to is Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. And if I really had to sit down and think, that would probably be my favorite 2D Mario game. And I know people look at Mario 3, and I think that's just because Mario 3 was such a oh, they walk. That's weird. It was such a massive jump. Yeah, give me the Fire Flower. Was such a massive jump from the original Mario, because Mario 2, how many people really count Mario 2 or Doki Doki Panic? Not many, but Mario 2 did so much to change things up, and it's what Nintendo followed for a while, obviously, going into Super Mario World. But Mario World, paired with the Super Nintendo, was like next level stuff. Okay, so it's gonna put me in the background here. Get the 2.5D stuff. I still like that. I mentioned that with Sonic Superstars. It works. It adds that layer of depth to it. Okay, this is fun. Like, this is the kind of stuff I want to see. Just them doing really weird, creative things. They have the pipes in the foreground there. If I just, like, murder them before they have a chance to finish their notes, yeah, it affects the music, too. The pipes have their own, like, bass to it. Oh, that's fun. I mean, that wasn't, like, a difficult thing to get to the Wonder Seed, but I don't know. That's pretty cool. Like I said, it gives me a lot of hope for what else they can do with those Wonder. I think that's the part that's going to really keep me playing, because with New Super Mario Brothers, I'll admit it felt very generic as you went through it, very by the books. And after seeing that, reading some of the developer interviews, it does feel like they just said, we're going to do whatever we want with this and get incredibly creative. So now I'm really thinking of maybe some of the weird stuff they're going to attempt to do here. Okay, this part definitely is like right out of Super Mario Brothers 3, where there's a house that you walk into and there's just a chest in the middle. But it looks like they're going to give me my first badge. There we go. Now, I believe that some badges are essentially like passive abilities, and then others are ones you'll buy and you then equip and will change different abilities and other things you can do when you're running through a level, and then you can kind of change them before or after, which the entire thing with the parachute for your hat definitely reminds me of the cape from Super Mario World. There we go. So now I'm finally at the point where the overworld opens up and you can run around it, which kind of gives you free reign of what to choose, like which one you want to go to. So let's see. There we go. Running around. And it says L, I can kind of just... So you can just sort of you can just kind of quick travel and just choose through a menu if you want. I do like the idea of just kind of being able to run around and choose sort of in this isometric 3D look. Also, I like the kind of the shadows that you cast on the background here. That was something that was really big with Super Mario Brothers 3, where the idea was you were on a stage and you had sort of the props and stuff behind you. But once again, it just adds another layer of depth to everything going on. Hold Y, move to dash, dash to get the Wonder Seed. Okay. It's kind of like a... Okay, well... That seemed pretty straightforward. I assume they'll get harder than Hold Y and run right. I have to say, the platforming in this game feels really, really good. Like, everything is incredibly responsive. I feel like a lot of people look at 2D platforming games as extremely simple to create, but there is that feeling you really have to nail for control and feeling like it's very precise. And in this case, Mario, at least in the early going here, has done it really well. And while doing it well, it also has really, really good animation, visuals that I think really stand out. And it runs at the 60 frames. If all of that kind of coming together right now makes us feel really high quality. I like how the Goombas, they know they're about to get annihilated and they just freak out right there. Like, they know they're about to get basically murdered by Mario. So look, I can push the pipe on top of that. Man, that's it. Again, it's just things I haven't seen necessarily before in a Mario game, a 2D Mario game. And that is a question I think a lot of people had going into this. How can they make this different from, I mean, really a type of Mario game we've had for just a long, I mean, since the beginning of the original Nintendo, right? It's been a 2D Mario game, and it hasn't changed a ridiculous amount necessarily. Not that we haven't had different takes on it. Mario World, New Super Mario Bros., those things, while still 2D Mario, it was at least somewhat different, but it was still 2D Mario. In this case, just like something as simple as that, pushing the pipe to make a new pipe, that's a nice little wrinkle thrown in there. And then the idea of the Wonder Flowers, I gotta say, as tried and true as this formula has been for Nintendo, this actually feels very different. Like, in this case, I'm kind of doing these, like, this is sort of a puzzle here by pushing that there and then this one to the right to complete this pipe. I will say this, though, as much praise as I am giving this right now, just my first play of it, it is still a 2D Mario game. So the tried and true formula, the foundation, it's still there. So if you're someone who's been playing 2D Mario this entire time, I don't think this is necessarily going to break new ground for you or make you think of 2D Mario vastly differently than what you've experienced before. That said, this does still feel like a formula. It doesn't need to be altered much because it's always been good. And Nintendo is good at making a 2D game like this when they really want to put their mind to it. Although with something like New Super Mario Bros., it just felt like Nintendo just wanted a 2D Mario game, but didn't necessarily have any super unique ideas for it. I mean, I know it was still fine on the Wii, but they just kind of kept rolling with it and didn't do a lot. This, to me, feels like them going back to the drawing board and just getting wild with it. This also might be one of the sharpest Switch games I feel like I've seen in terms of the visuals. And again, it's a 2D game, so I'm sure they have a bit more leeway with some of the character models and the way you're seeing them, but this feels like they're hitting native resolution. Like, I don't see anything that looks incredibly blurry, or you know how there's that effect with a lot of Switch titles where they just don't have any kind of anti-aliasing and everything looks rough around the edges? That is not the case for this game at all right now. So this is a game that I'm looking at and makes me wish Nintendo had done something like HDR on the Switch, because this seems like one that's gonna, when I play it on like my OLED or even on the Switch OLED here, which I'm on just like a basic LCD monitor here for recording, I feel like that it's really gonna stand out. And it makes me think about this game. Let's say the next system just is backwards compatible. This game having like 4K HDR enabled, this is one that I think will age incredibly well with that. So that's the other thing about 2D games, is they're timeless in a sense, and this one, I feel like the art style will hold up potentially 20 years from now. I still go back and I'll play Mario World, and I think the game still looks very good, just kind of with that pixel look to it and the art style. So I'm kind of getting the same vibes from this. And when you start talking like Super Mario World, Mario 3 in the same conversation, and yeah, you have a good game on your hands. I mean, it's been a while since I've really looked at a Nintendo game in terms of the visuals and looked at it and go, wow, this looks really good. Sure, like Zelda looks good at times, but that you could tell has some issues with the resolution and frame rate. This, though, like just stopping here and looking at Elephant, the shadowing on it, it looks really, really good. Oh, we're fighting Bowser Jr., and it looks pretty standard right now. I assume I have to jump on him 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the last one was a few more times than that, just to, like, knock him unconscious a bit to stomp on him. But still tried and true for the first boss. Jump on him a couple times, and they give up. Oh, there's our Royal Seed. Okay, how is this any different than what I've been getting? Or is that just, like, it caps off that part of the world you were... Alright, so the Royal Seed, as you get it, will eliminate some of these clouds going around Bowser, and it essentially caps off the world that I just did, and now I'm up to Petal Isles. So I have to go around, get all these Royal Seeds, knock out all the clouds that are floating around Bowser, who's turned into a castle, interestingly, and then you beat the game when you can, I guess, go inside Bowser. So they have different Wonder Seeds for each area, I guess, because now instead of having like the dark blue Wonder Seeds, now I have these reddish orange Wonder Seeds. I guess that's just to kind of split it up so you can't necessarily go to one area and, for example, come here with a number of the dark blue ones and just, I guess, sequence break parts of the game. So they're at least kind of controlling your progress a bit. So I can actually break blocks underwater now with that. I feel like that's kind of new. I have never been a fan of underwater levels in Mario. I don't know if that's like a weird thing. They've just never clicked with me. To me, it always worked against the idea of the tight platforming they try to have in these games. It's just, you never really feel like you're in control when you're underwater in these Mario games. But this, I do like this, being able to kind of sprint somewhat in underwater and break blocks. Yeah, Dolphin Kick definitely makes the underwater part stuff easier. That, and you have like a fire flower, and you'll just annihilate a lot, like basically everything in front of you at this point. I don't know, does that hit and like kill enemies? No, it doesn't. Well, there you go. I had to waste my fire flower to figure that out. So I've played almost an hour now of Mario Wonder, and it's pretty good. Now, I've heard that as you go along, things get even better. So I did play the first world and then a bit here of the Petal Isles, or the water-themed world. But really, once you get a feel for the game and kind of the platforming, the animations, the visual style, you can see that this is a high-quality outing from Nintendo. And to me, I do want to experience both multiplayer modes, whether it's the one where you kind of see ghost forms of different people running through it with you, or just having 4 people on one screen and just see how chaotic that can be. But I will admit, I am much more intrigued by how this plays out, not necessarily because of the story and Bowser being a castle, but just the gameplay itself and some of the ideas that are being presented here, as opposed to what I experienced with some of the more recent games like New Super Mario Bros. U, which I understand was a port of New Super Mario Bros. U. Well, okay, so we had the deluxe version, then we had New Super Mario Bros. U, but those felt just much more safe than what I'm experiencing here so far. This is still 2D Mario, so if you've experienced that in the past, you're still technically playing a 2D Mario game. I just feel like there are enough interesting twists and turns here so far in the early going that, yeah, I think if you're a fan of 2D Mario, this is an absolute pickup, and I am excited to see where exactly that this game goes as I go forward with it. But let me know what you guys think about Super Mario Bros. Wonder down below, if you've picked it up and played it, or if you're thinking about getting it later on. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.